Been quiet through the whole thing, steady. He never told me what to do. Halfway through my run-through, he put his hand flat on the table and said, "Is this job worth what it's doing to you?" I stopped talking. I didn't have a quick answer. I'd been in fight mode since the first week. I told him some nights I wondered if I should quit and go back to the garage. The garage was simple. The engine doesn't care what you look like. He said you could. No one would blame you. But I watched you teach our neighbor's kid how to change brake pads in 20 minutes, and that boy looked at you like you were magic. Those students deserve someone like you, even if they're too dumb to know it yet. I picked my pen back up. I kept practicing. The next morning, I got to school early. When I turned the corner toward my door, I saw it. Someone had taped a printed sign in the middle of the door. Block letters. Miss Grease's garage. I didn't yell. I didn't rip it off. I peeled the tape off carefully so the paper didn't tear. Folded it in half, put it in my bag. Inside the classroom, I slid it into a clear plastic sleeve behind the last tab. One more piece of evidence. About 40 minutes later, Rania came around the corner fast. She leaned in. Clarabelle brought 6 parents, and she brought Nico. He's going to speak. I asked, did they prep him? She nodded. His mother gave him index cards. I took a breath. Good. Let him talk. The more he talks, the more he says what he really thinks. I started toward the conference room. Halfway down the hallway, Mr. Borja was beside me. Quiet voice. Almost a favor. If you just offered the boys a second chance on the practical, this whole thing goes away. I stopped. I turned. The 8 boys who passed didn't need a second chance. Why did the 14 who refused to learn deserve one? He blinked. He opened his mouth. He closed it. He turned around and walked back the way he came. I walked into the hearing. Clarabelle was already seated, settled, like she'd arrived an hour early to claim the best chair. The board representative opened by thanking everyone and then turned to her first. Same format as last time. Same order. Parents talk. I listen. Clarabelle stood. She had a stack of papers. I have here a petition signed by 12 parents. She slid it toward the board representative. 12 signatures. She'd been busy. Then she read from a typed page. Our children came to this school to learn a trade, and instead they were subjected to a teacher who showed open hostility, refused to accommodate different learning styles, and graded them unfairly to make a point about her own authority. She read it smooth, no stumbles. Several parents nodded right on cue. The board representative wrote something. Then he turned to Nico. Nico stood up. Clean polo, hair combed, index cards in his hand like a little shield. He read. She never gave us a chance. She came in on the first day acting like she was better than us. When we asked questions, she ignored us. When we tried to participate, she told us we were doing it wrong. Flat. Even. Reading book report cadence. 2 board members I hadn't seen at the first meeting leaned back and looked at me. Not angry. Just that look people get when they're starting to believe the story they're being told. He paused between sentences the way someone does when they're moving from one card to the next, and I could see his eyes drop down each time. He wasn't remembering what happened. He was reading what his mother wrote. But even knowing that, it sounded sincere. A 17-year-old boy standing up in a room full of adults saying his teacher didn't give him a chance. That lands with people. Nico sat down. Clarabelle squeezed his shoulder. The board representative turned to Mr. Borja. As the department head, we'd appreciate your perspective. Mr. Borja straightened, cleared his throat. Careful, measured voice. I tried to advise her early on. I suggested she adapt to the students' learning culture. The previous instructor had excellent rapport. I think there may have been a mismatch in expectations. A mismatch in expectations. Like a puzzle piece from the wrong box. He didn't say the previous teacher let boys work on personal motorcycles. He didn't say the learning culture was letting students do whatever they wanted while he signed off on passing grades. He just said mismatch and let people fill in the blanks. Then a parent on the far side stood without being called. My son has never failed a class in his life. Not one. He's a good kid. He does his homework. He respects his teachers. And this one teacher in one semester gives him a 0? Something is wrong with that picture and it isn't my son. Loud conviction. Other parents made sounds of agreement. The board representative didn't tell him to sit down. He just wrote more notes. The room was tipping. Toward Clarabelle's side like water running downhill. The performance improvement plan was about 10 minutes from becoming real. I sat forward. I'd like to present now. The board representative checked his watch. Looked at the parents. You'll have 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Clarabelle had talked for 10. Nico for 5. Borja for 3. That father for 2. They got all the time they wanted. I got 15 minutes to undo every word. I couldn't go tab by tab. I needed to start with something that stopped every voice in the room. I flipped the binder open and pulled out a single piece of paper. I held the worksheet up. I set it on the table in front of the board representative. Nico's handwriting clear and bold across the middle of the page. I don't take instructions from women. The board representative read it silently. His eyes moved up to Nico. Nico's face changed. The rehearsed look was gone. Now he looked like he just remembered something he forgot to hide. Clarabelle reached across the table fast and grabbed the paper. That could be anyone's handwriting. I was ready. I pulled out the stack of worksheets from the same assignment. Different handwriting on each. I placed Nico's worksheet next to 3 other assignments he'd turned in over the semester. Same slant, same letter formation, same pen pressure, identical. I looked at Clarabelle. This is what your son turned in. This is the quality of work he produced while telling you I wasn't teaching him. Her mouth opened, closed. For the first time, she had nothing to say. I moved to the next tab and turned to the projector. I plugged in my laptop and pulled up the school's shared drive. Lesson plans. Week 1 through week 18. Every file with the date it was uploaded and the date it was last changed. Every plan uploaded the Sunday before the week it was meant to cover. Not last week. Months ago. I turned to Clarabelle. You told this board I fabricated lesson plans after the fact. The metadata is right there. I wrote these when I was supposed to because I'm a teacher who does her job. The board representative leaned forward and squinted at the dates. One of the board members who'd been doubting me earlier was now sitting forward with a pen, writing something. He wasn't leaning back anymore. I closed the laptop. I have a student in the hallway who was in my class all semester. He participated in every lesson. He passed both exams. I'd like him to come in. The board representative nodded. I opened the door. The student was on the bench. He sat in the chair I pulled out near the front. The board representative asked him about his experience in the class. He sat up straight. He didn't look at Nico. He didn't look at Clarabelle. She taught us everything step by step. She showed us how to use every tool on the rack. The guys who failed didn't fail because she was bad. They failed because they wouldn't get off the workbenches. Nico told us on the first day he wasn't going to listen to a woman and most of the guys followed him. Clarabelle started to speak. The board representative held up his hand. Ma'am, sit down. Let the student finish. The student kept going. Nico also told us if we kept showing up to her lessons, we'd regret it. I'm here because she actually taught me something, and I'm not going to lie about it. I reached into the binder and pulled out Rania's sealed envelope. I placed her statement on the table. This is from the school's guidance counselor. It confirms Nico came to her office asking how to file a complaint and was laughing when he asked. It also confirms not a single student in my class ever came to guidance reporting they felt targeted. The board representative read it slowly, twice. I reached into my bag one last time and pulled out the folded sign I'd peeled off my door that morning. I unfolded it and placed it flat on the table. Miss Grease's garage. This was on my door when I arrived today. I've been called Miss Grease since week 3. None of the boys were disciplined. None of the parents were informed. No administrator addressed it. And now I'm the one in a hearing explaining why I deserve to keep my job. I let that sit. Nobody moved. I looked directly at the board representative. I was hired because I have 9 years of experience and a teaching credential. I built a curriculum from nothing because the previous teacher left no notes. I gave every student the same opportunity. 14 of them chose not to take it because they decided a woman couldn't teach them. That is not a performance issue. That is their issue. And I will not apologize for holding a standard that half this class refused to meet. The room was completely quiet. The board representative set his pen down. He didn't pick it up again. He looked at Mr. Borja. Did you approve this grading rubric at the start of the semester? Mr. Borja's face tightened. His eyes moved to the left like he was looking for a way out. He waited too long. Then he said, I signed off on it, yes. So the grading criteria were transparent and pre-approved by the department. Mr. Borja nodded once. Small. He didn't try to explain. Clarabelle stood up one final time. This is exactly the kind of hostility we're talking about. Like if she just said the word enough times, it would become true. The board representative looked at her. Calm. Flat. Ma'am, your son wrote on a school assignment that he doesn't take instructions from women. Your complaint alleged your son was targeted. The evidence presented today suggests otherwise. Plain. No drama. Clarabelle stared at him for 3 seconds. The look of someone who just realized they lost and they can't figure out how it happened. The board representative turned to me. There will be no performance plan. Your grades stand as submitted. The 14 students who failed will repeat the course next semester per school policy. Every word was a door closing on everything Clarabelle had built. Clarabelle grabbed her bag and walked out without looking at anyone. Nico picked up his index cards and followed. The other parents stood and left quietly. Mr. Borja left without looking at anyone. The board representative gathered his papers, thanked me, and walked out. I sat in my chair and put my hands flat on the table and breathed. The weight I'd been carrying since the first day I walked into that shop classroom, and 22 boys looked at me like I didn't belong. It lifted, not all at once, just slowly, like a fist unclenching one finger at a time. I picked up my binder, closed it, put it in my bag. I walked out and down the hallway and around the corner to my shop classroom door. No sign this time, just my door. I unlocked it, went inside, sat down at my desk, opened my laptop. I pulled up a blank document. Lesson plan, week 1, next semester. 14 names on the roster, same 14.